Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Saturday, September 27th. Where did the year go? Well, you look at it, folks. We have less than 13 weeks to Christmas, and I can't wait to see what everyone's getting. Put it underneath their mailbox this year. Yes, it's going to be a fun one, my friends. As if we get into it, let's go ahead and take a look and see who we have out in the audience right now. Let's welcome everybody in, shall we? I think so. Let's get to it. We have Amanda Beddoes here along with Brennan England. I see Brains. Carl Joe Garrison's in the chat. Good to see you, Joe. Craig's here along with Craig Smith. We got Dr. Julie Boyce, Liza Teal, Evan B, Geraldine Durazio. Good to see you. We got the old Greg O'Brien. Come on in the back, my friend. We miss you. Gray Hair Discoveries here along with J-Cat, Kathy, Kelly Brote, and those piercing blue eyes. We got Maritime Unprepared. Mr. X is here along with Mr. Joey B. I see Niles Guy, our resident Pitbull. Good to see you, my friend. All well, along with Roni Deal, Rodney Cox, Rough Reddy, Scooby Dooby Gooby is around, along with Super Unknown, the Chromosome Cowboys in the chat, along with our friend Tony D. And I think somewhere in there we got Yellow Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy. Good to see everybody on that note. Let's go ahead and jump into the studio. Mike, how the hell are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing well. Seems like we're already in a Saturday international audience show.
Oh, yeah.
It went by quickly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
we're going to be able to talk about drones again today.
They're back. They're fashionable. There's a lot of stuff we could go and talk about, but I guess we could stick to drones to start off with. I've got a video here canned of "You're a cunt." I'll have to play this one in a bit.
Yeah.
Mike's like, should we go for it now or do it later?
No, do it now.
Do it now. Okay. So back in the day when we first started Disclosure Tonight, Lou Elizondo was being attacked on a daily basis by a live streamer by the name of Goofon. Remember those days, Mike?
I do.
And
she was very busy at that time.
And one of our friends of the show, Gary, AP bully, as we called him, because he was bullying Lou Elizondo. Granted, what do you call it? Goofon came back and said, we were bullying him. Let me show you who the real bully is, folks. This is a fun clip. Let's have some fun with it. Let's see if I can get to it here. Oh, video full. All right, here we go. Let me move this up a little bit, and let's get started. Here we go, folks. Let's have some fun.
You are a cunt, 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 cunt. If that's thinking cunt, say it ain't true, but you tell you you're motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt, 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 motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your head to toes you're a big fat stinking cunt.
So what are we talking about tonight?
You know, can you talk about?
It's not ufology. That means unidentified flying, the study of. When you say ufology, it's ufology. Oh yeah, oh God, here we go. The struggles of Lou Elizondo. Well, that wouldn't happen if you wouldn't lie.
I'm a big boy. I made my own decisions.
Well, we know you're a big boy. We can see your neck. That's all I see is Lou neck. What an egotistical thing to say. I don't want anybody. Please stop feeling sorry for me. I'm a big boy. I did this all on my own. Stop, please. Oh, the pain, the agony that I went through. You didn't do anything. You didn't say anything. You didn't show us anything.
Hold on a second here. My video just stopped moving.
There's no...
What the hell? There we go.
UAPs, anything. This guy is a piece of shit. You are a fucking liar. You may be a hero to your military buddies and all that shit. Great. Thank you for your service. Now get the fuck out of ufology.
Journey.
God, I hate him.
Be very careful.
Okay? I showed you all my works. I showed you stupid videos and shit and all the mistakes and all, and my tapes and everything. What has Lou shown you? Lou wants to be on the big stage, be the big boy. He wants to take the UFO community and say, hey, I'm here for you. No, you're not. You're here for Lou. God, I can't stand this guy. I'm just saying it from now on. I fucking hate him. Yeah, of course, with the little smirk on his face. That's how you know this fuck face is lying. Fuck you. It's not hard to discredit somebody who's done shit for ufology. This guy's done nothing for ufology. Don't let him fool you. This guy has done absolutely nothing except create disinformation, lies, and showing us videos that aren't anything at all but regular aircraft, birds, and bullshit. Look, if anybody, swear to God on my life, if you tell me any of those 3 videos show a real freaking UFO, I'm gonna freaking explode. Fucking lying piece of shit. I don't feel sorry for me. I'm a big boy. No shit. Hey, your wife is like a pancake now. The last time you got on top of her, she still can't breathe. Look at this shithole. Look at this fuckface. Lou Elizondo. Oh, we must always be held accountable for our past sins. What, like your father? How about your father? Ratting out all those people? Guantanamo Bay? Yeah, talk to your dad about past sins to ensure we don't do it again, he says. It's too early to tell, but depending on how this goes, there may be some folks having to answer some serious questions. Ooh. If Lou was knocking on my door right now, I'd say, what the fuck do you want? I don't like him. I don't like disinformation. I don't like liars. I don't like people pulling the wool over people's eyes. And why is Lou now writing a book or publishing a book here in a few months that's going to be released? Every one of you mother effers are going to buy that piece of shit, including myself, and we're going to look at it and read it, and we're going to try to dissect it and say, why didn't he just say this when he was on Sold Out Radio or other shows like that? Oh, well, I heard Lou isn't broke at all. As a matter of fact, it's been looked into that he's got quite a bit of it. Lou is a yes man, a yes sir, and I will lick the boots of all my bosses and all that shit. Now, Lou's bad for business. Bad for business. And I feel like it's time we get a little bit of Lou. Every day this week, we're going to talk about Lou and his bullshittery. I don't care if you don't like it. You don't like it? There's the door. So you can't have it both ways, dipshit. Lou is dirty. We'll come back to that tomorrow. Yeah, no, I am not going to stop with this Lou tirade. I am going to make as much noise as possible about Lou and now his involvement in being with the Galileo project is a problem for me. And I'm not looking at the chat room because I'm on a roll here. I don't like to get distracted. So if you're asking me questions or saying things and I'm not reading them, that's why. But let me tell you, every day I'm going to say something this week, and I'm not going to stop probably after that. I don't like the guy. I don't like a guy who picks what shows he'll go on because he doesn't want to be asked the hard questions. I don't like people like that. They got something to hide. Oh, my NDA. Fuck you and your NDA. Piece of shit. Don't go into a field where...
Don't do this again. This has got to be a new bug coming from OBS. Stop it.
Ability is everything, and hiding is nothing. Well, that doesn't really make much sense, does it? Hey, forget about it.
I try to.
Come on, give me a second here. Something. I need to find a different copy of this. Let's try this one. At this point, where am I at? 5 minutes, 18 seconds. Let's give this. Here we go. Get it down here. Here we go.
Thing. And hiding is nothing. Well, that doesn't really make much sense, does it? Hey, forget about it.
I try to live my life every day. Keep out of strife, come what may. I try to do unto others as I'd have them do to me. But it can't be done for everyone, and now it's plain to see. You are a cunt. If that's thinking cunt. This facade, and now I see, dearie me, what a hassle this would be. Big hassle. I'm out of luck, don't give a fuck, cause you're the cunt, not me.
Why don't you go fuck yourself, dickhead?
You are a cunt. If that's thinking cunt. If it ain't true, but I'm here to tell you, you're a motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt. Motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your head to your toes, you're a big fat stinking cunt. Why don't you shut that scabby cunt mouth before I fuck up your try to be real nice. Say it twice, good advice, even though it's futile. Fucking imbecile. I don't know why I try to deny this nagging itch. You maniac, gonna get you back, you fucking son of a bitch. You are a cunt, 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 cunt. A big fat stinking cunt. Say it ain't true when you tell me you're a motherfucking cunt. You are a cunt, 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 cunt. Motherfucking cunt. Everybody knows from your dittos you're a big fat stinking cunt.
Well, we're gonna try it again, see if this works now. I'll be able to hear my voice go live. No. I'm gonna try something here before I get crazy. Something. Because I listen, I can't listen this here. It's working. That's what it is. Okay, Dan. So when he says high as fuck, you can put a big old microphone right in there like a peanut. See what I'm saying? It goes like a peanut. Now I'm gonna wait and see if this regurgitates itself on there. See if it does it again now. It should be coming up to it any second. I think there's like a 30-second. I don't know, but it just.
Those were the days. They had to bring it back out. You know, I was seeing some things on X today trying to say we're the bullies. No, this is the shit we stood up against back in the day.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And that bullying is still going on in 2025.
It is. Completely.
I know.
Still attacking Lou, still attacking us. It's still going on. But yeah, it's a catchy song, Niles guy. That's one of the reasons why I played it, because you can't get it out of your mind once it starts. But yeah. Yes, Gray Hair Discoveries, make it your ringtone. It's perfect. You got to have some fun with it. Yeah. But he's done a lot for Disclosure and bringing it out. I don't think we'd be in Disclosure where we're at right now, Mike, without Lou coming out like he did in 2017.
No, it was relatively quiet before he brought those 3 videos out publicly and the New York Times article. It got a lot of attention and people started to take this more seriously with less stigma.
That's what it was all about. Getting the public aware and involved. Andy, your hands up, my friend.
Yeah, I think that's the one issue, Lou as well as Rick suffer from. Rick, we know he came out of the military in 1988. Yes, he did what he was told, and people are going to hate me for backing Rick. I personally, speaking to Rick on here, having, chatting to him behind the scenes as we do, I've always found him very affable and everything. Now, he may well be feeding us bullshit. I don't know, but I don't believe that he's still doing it, nearly 40 years after coming out of the military. So, I like to give Rick the benefit of the doubt that he's actually on our side now. So, people, and I think Lou is as well. It's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it, really? You either believe Lou and Rick, or you believe that they're still disinformation, I'm sure people who quit their job 30 years ago are still doing the same job that they did 30 years ago, even though they're in maybe, however many jobs since. So, it's...
Am I doing the same now that I was doing 30 years ago? Oh, hell no. I hope no one would be.
Unfortunately, I am. So I'm sad. That's me. So,
that's all right.
But, yeah. So, yeah, I think everybody's going to dissent, and we're such a disorganized mob, really, aren't we, in this community? We've just seen there. We're all on the same side. So, I've got far more cultured gentleman about to follow me with his hand up. So,
you bring out a good point. There is no central leadership. It's kind of like, well, I'm not going to say the word anti word, but that comes into it. There is no leadership, if you want to call it, in Disclosure. Lou has always said, I don't want to be the leader, and I get it. Who does that leave? We got other people in Congress, but they're just politicians, and well, where that goes to, where the money leads them to potentially, and it's a stinky situation. It kind of leaves us with who can we all point towards these days for really rallying to bring out the whistleblowers and bring out the truth? I hate to say it, it's Jeremy Corbell. whether we like it or not.
I must admit, the last, yes, I know people say Jeremy gets very, very animated, and he does. He's passionate, and I think we need somebody of passion in this field, yeah, everything I've seen that Jeremy's done is when I saw him sit down with Matt Brown on that interview, I thought he was actually very good. He actually was able to keep his emotions in check.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I finding a leader. We see this in politicians. Even people in their own parties are either on one side or the other of that party. So, yeah, it seems to be just a natural thing for us as a species that we all seem to follow these trends, or like we're doing. We're all into the UFO subjects, but then some people are on one side, some people are on the other. There's no real middle ground. I think we're always going to suffer for it, to be honest.
Yeah. We just may, Andy. I appreciate your opinion on that. Tom Whitmore, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, when Lou came out, I think some people were very jealous because he just he burst on the scene and he created a whole sea change in the UFO community.
Yeah.
And it's like he went straight to the top in terms of authority and credibility. And, there have been a lot of people in the community, like myself, that have been around for 30 years. And I think some people were jealous, of him going up so fast, so quickly. And then when this Manny did this, Manny area, I think it's Area 503, did this so-called expose on Lou, which really didn't say anything.
Right.
But it made Lou mad. And I think at that point he realized what he was dealing with, that he was dealing.
Oh yeah, he kind of knew what it was going on before then, but that was a shocker. And luckily, Manny didn't adhere to fair use standards. He took clips from Disclosure tonight. He actually went and where is it at? No, not that one. Stop that. No, where is it at? A logo overlay. He hid the Disclosure Tonight logo and put up and said from some random podcast, right? If you do that and you don't give me, you take a bunch of clips that are longer than like 7 or 8 seconds, you use them, you play them, you don't go ahead and actually, if you want to call it, give critique or criticism and stuff on it, it's not fair use. And because of that, I was able to go ahead and get that video taken down. It came down for 30 days. If I wanted to go ahead and actually take it down, I would have had to take them to federal court in Portland, which I didn't have the money to do at that time. And I just I shut it down for 30 days. It expired. It came back up again. But since then, there's just been lots of hate and everything coming mine and Lou's ways because, you know what? Someone breaks the law. They said I did an illegal takedown. It wasn't an illegal takedown. It was completely within the scope of what fair use is and what it wasn't. That's why I was able to get that video removed for 30 days. And I think it kind of, if you want to call it, pulled the steam out of it to a degree.
Yeah, and I think in Rich Giordano's case, I used to listen to him a lot, and he claims that he had spent many thousands of hours doing watch sessions, like night sessions, and taking films and photographs and taking all these notes, which he has never published. And I think he wanted recognition for that, and he didn't really know how to get it. And then somebody like Lou, comes on the scene. I just think he was jealous.
Yeah, there was a lot of jealousy out there coming from it up on fires. But one of the people that was actually jealous the most, from what I've heard, that pulled the spotlight out of him was, Stephen Greer. Because he was the chosen one. He was the one who was out there. He had promotions going along with Third Phase of the Moon. By the way, they do use the term buckle up a lot. Not a good term to use, my friends. But it was like it pulled the steam out of him, and it took the focus off of Steven and put it on Lou. And you know what happens in that area, just more drama.
Well, Lou didn't help the situation when he said, I don't negotiate with terrorists. I mean, that was kind of silly.
Yeah. That's true. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes you have to let your hair down. What do we have left of it? And go for it. All right, let's get into this. Mike is still with us, my friend?
Yeah. I'm right here.
All right, so drones in Europe, they're back, my friends, and it looks like the ones that we had going in the United States not too long ago have potentially made their way across to Europe. Maybe, maybe not, because the ones in the United States were more likely from our own government doing their stuff, right, Mike? Versus in Europe, what we're looking at now is possibly the drones and probably the drones being part of Russia stirring up the pot a bit before all hell breaks loose.
Right, because Putin is not particularly happy for having NATO supply weapons to the Ukraine that allows them to strike into Russia. So these drone incursions could be a reflection of that.
Yeah.
Message. He's sending a message.
Yeah, it could be, and it has been sending a message, Mike, because as our title card goes ahead and points out for today's show, that yes, drones invade Europe because it's gone beyond Denmark. And some of the latest news that hit with us today, let's go ahead and bring this up. Where are we at here? Stop Thomas. Let's get to it. Okay, so we've got an image here. The drone swarms in Europe, and specifically over Mormelen-le-Grand camp in France, are escalating, as to remind us all, the swarms in New Jersey in December of 2024 and January 2025. There's obviously a third actor involved outside of the U.S. The data mining is to test the scenario for a sky event to trigger potentially an emergency power scenario. It also gathers public reaction to a possible UFO threat, Mike, but do we really think what we're dealing with here is UFOs, or is it more likely Russia stirring the pot of
Russia
going to World War III?
No, it's playing games with independent nations' boundaries. There was a Russian bomber that entered into Alaskan airspace the other day. So Putin is just, sending messages to everybody. But if you want, we can take a poll and see what the audience thinks.
Let's wait a little bit farther, because there's a bunch of news to come up before. I guess we could ask the audience before, and we could ask them after.
Drones, yeah.
Let me go ahead and find the chat board and bring it up, and let's just say, we're going to just start a poll. Europe. Drones are from NHI, and we're going to say human/Russia. Two choices.
Okay. Yep.
Start the poll. Let's go ahead and bring this up and see our audience. All right, friends, before we get into this today and show all the stories that it's been going on, let's see where our audience is going to take us. All right. Hey, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds, please.
Sure. 1 minute, 30 seconds. We're starting now.
All right, Mike. So far we've got, let me get the sound effect up that we usually play when we're doing this. Where'd it go? It's just a little bit, so it's not so loud. All right, with 1 minute left, we've got 56 votes in, 58 votes in so far, Mike. We have 55% of our audience saying it's from the non-human intelligence, meaning aliens. We got 45% of the audience saying it's from humans/Russia. Personally, if I would vote on this, I would say it's from humans in Russia. And Mike, I think you're about the same place.
Oh, that we're on the same page together. So yeah, well, you know what? You and I already anticipated where the audience would go with this initially, and you were right.
Oh, no.
We're going to continue to cover it.
No, the numbers are pretty much almost tied. You have 52% to 48% left, which is 30 seconds left in this poll. It's leveling off at this point, Mike. No, it's not going where I at all thought it would be. It looks like, Humans Russia has gained up on NHI with, how many votes do we got? 81 votes in with 15 seconds left, folks. This is your last chance to get in there and vote, Mike, but it looks like we're at a deadlock on this one.
Interesting.
Yeah. 4, 3, Can we get more than, oh, we had 85 votes. There we go. Let's go ahead and stop the timer. Let's go ahead and take a screenshot for posterity of that. And let's go ahead and end the poll. There we go. Final answer, 489 votes in, Mike. We pretty much stuck at any, where does the audience think it is? Well, the audience is saying, they're split. 51% of the audience is saying it's NHI, meaning aliens, and 49% of the audience is saying that what we're dealing with is from humans / Russia, and it's split right down the middle. And honestly, I had thought when we were first going to get into this, when we talked about it, Mike, that the audience was going to go overwhelmingly towards the non-human intelligence, but I think they've got an idea of what's going on.
It seems like they've been paying attention.
Oh,
But
yeah.
when we cover more about this and then do a follow-up survey, we'll see if we move the needle or not.
Oh, exactly. There's a bunch of stuff. Get out of this post. We got a bunch of other posts to bring up here now. Let's bring this one up. This is interesting, coming from Richard Geldrich. Let's get to it. All right. So Richard Geldrich, let me get this up here. Zoom it down a little bit. That'll make it a little bit easier. All right, is saying that whoever it is, it's not Russian. Laughable. Okay, that's right. Does this drone look familiar? They're saying this is from Denmark on September 25th. Looks like one of the drones from New Jersey, potentially. Now,
But we don't know if that's AI or what it is.
well, we don't know if it's AI or if it's actually one of the videos of one of the pieces. We're going to have to go ahead and find out. Now, there is another video that came from last night in Bellevue, Washington, not a stone throw, about 20-minute drive from where I am right now. Let's go ahead and
Flight tracking, and there's nothing overhead at the minute.
And that does look similar to the video that we just saw right now.
Drone of some kind.
You've got that little piece at the front, the two things on either side, whether or not this is someone going and actually taking one of the videos and recycling it, or we have a match to the particular type of drones that it could be, Mike. This has got to be an old video. That reminds me of one of the shots we saw. Well, where it made a tight turn and went back, but either way, it looks like it's going behind pine trees.
Directly overhead.
It's going to be hard to tell what the heck is going on, say the least. Let's move on from this particular story. All right. Oh gosh. All right, I'm not going to believe this one. It's on my Twitter feed because I had to put it out there because there's so much bullshit that comes on X. But before we get to that, I want to go ahead and thank a couple of members of the audience. Actually, Cy Nickman, or Sion Ickman, or Ickman, whatever it is. First, he said drones are the new swamp gas, potentially, and third-party psionic man. Thank you. Also, then third-party human actor, corporate, perhaps. Who knows? We'll have to find out as we get into it. Now, some people are saying the sun just sent a coronal mass ejection straight to 3i Atlas and everything else in its path. Astronomers may call it a comet, but it's not, but who knows? But they are saying this thing is really large at this point, much bigger than they ever thought it possibly could be. But let's get back to Trump and see what we've got. No, not that one. Mike, I guess I will cover this one, because this is Antifa. It does relate to what we've got going on here. We've had an invasion going of Portland by the ICE facility in the federal courts, that now that Antifa has been declared a terrorist organization, they're moving troops to Portland at this point. So we'll have to see what's going on. Now, there's supposed to be a big protest that's going to be heading their way, planned for tomorrow, where they're pulling all the resources in. So we'll see what kind of people show up for that one.
We'll see if it turns ugly and gets violent. I hope not, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Going to be building pressure on the streets of Portland.
Oh, it's going to be, there's a lot of things getting ready to kindle up at this point. Getting back to the drones again. if we're looking at this. All right, so this is coming from Christopher Sharp. He had tweeted earlier today that from June, with 94 votes in favor and only 11 against, the Danish parliament last night on June 11th passed a new defense agreement granting the United States extended access to military bases in 3 Danish cities of Karup, Skryrup, Strup, and Aalborg. So, not sure if that's directly related to what we've been seeing for the drones and the reason why the drones are in Europe at this point. But let me get back into this video because we've got this in English, I hope. We'll find out in a second.
Night in
okay, so we've got some news coming from France's 24-hour English news channel. Let's go ahead and watch this little clip here. Here we go.
In Denmark, where we've seen fresh attacks overnight in several areas, notably at the Skryrup Air Base and the Jutland Dragoon Regiment, and also, more importantly, this hasn't been confirmed by the Danish authorities, but by local media, that there was a sighting of drones at the Karup Air Base, which is situated in the center of the country. This is the main air base in Denmark, the biggest military air base, and that's why the authorities are being a bit tight-lipped about it. But the reports from local authorities say that there were drones both inside and outside of that air base. There is a fear that if something's isn't done quickly, then this could all spiral out of control. In Denmark, where we've seen fresh attacks overnight in several areas.
So, Mike, there you have it. The drones are definitely coming into air bases, not just coming in over the civilian areas. We know, I believe Schiphol Airport was in Netherlands was actually shut down for a bit last night because some drones were blocking their main runway for flights to come in and land. And now we're hearing about, more incursions going in, military air bases where they're hovering and such. And if that's the case, it definitely sounds like a foreign actor.
It's very strange. It's just all this activity, and nobody seems to be able to have a clue about what's going on either here or there. But didn't Trump say that he knows exactly what the drones were over New Jersey?
Yeah, but then he came out and said, I'm not allowed to talk about it.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
So if they are the same drones that were here, what's going on and how is the U.S. involved in that? That's a good question, but I don't believe that the drones appearing
Might take it for 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't believe the drones over Europe are the same ones that we had here over New Jersey. I do believe that they are connected to the Russian government that has been stretching its boundaries into U.S. and NATO countries. They are sending a message. They don't like how this war is escalating over there in Europe and with Ukraine. And they don't like the fact that NATO and the U.S. are providing long-range missiles and weapons to the Ukraine government. So they're trying to warn us off that if this persists, that it could escalate into World War III between Russia, the U.S., and NATO. I hope it doesn't go there. And I think one of the reasons that he may be getting a little ballsy lately is because they have been entering into negotiations with China and North Korea. So he may be feeling a little froggy because he may feel he has backup with those other countries against NATO and the US. I hope it doesn't escalate. It would not be good for any party involved.
Right.
We don't want or need any of that bullshit to get worse than it's been already.
Now, if you remember, Mike, earlier in this week, before the whole drone thing actually started up, there were invasions going into Polish airspace. And Poland was getting ready to go ahead and pull like Article 2 or Article 4, I think it was Article 2 of the NATO agreement to go ahead and call to start bringing in forces and air support to go ahead and deal with these incursions. So, if anything, it really is pointing towards Russia at this point.
Oh, absolutely. But that's also just common sense.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah, we know. And I don't think it's over either.
No.
These drones went from Greece to Germany to now France.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Netherlands and Denmark and all over the place. So they're kind of
Norway.
all over the
Yeah.
place. If we can, Andy, you have your hand up, my friend.
Yeah, I think we need to look at what's going on, and from what I've seen in chat, still going on in the States, in America, as opposed to what's going on in Europe. I think they potentially are different actors, whether they're NHI or human. If it's a reconnaissance in Europe by Russia, I just find it a bit strange. It's you've got your Google Earth, so you know where everything is. There's no hiding air bases. I think the only, if it is Russia or one of their proxies, it's only to get up to date data on what's actually occurring on those air bases. Now, why these things are targeting civilian airports, I don't know. Yeah, it's all very strange. Yeah, if it's a military thing, you'd think they would only be targeting military bases. So why are they targeting civilian? We had it here in Heathrow in the UK, 2 or 3 years ago. They arrested a couple who were eventually released and got a significant payout for wrongful arrest. There was nobody else arrested. There was no drones recovered. And then we had it again earlier this year at Lakenheath. Our friend Liberty Astra, who's sometimes in chat, was there filming at the time. They came out later saying, it was these Russian actors or people acting on behalf of Russia. Nobody was arrested during the actual events. There was no drones recovered. So it's all very murky. Fits perfectly in this subject, doesn't it?
It seems to be, my friend. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just agreeing with Andy. He's absolutely right. It's getting murkier and seems to be escalating.
Oh, it does. And it looks like, Mike, we've got 3 people in the back with their hands up. Actually 2. First Nick and then Laura. Nick, go ahead.
Are we all worried that if we try to attack them, they might see that as a threat and they might retaliate against humans?
No, not at all. Not at all.
No. The Hellfire video that was shown in Congress shows that if we fired on them, it would have no effect.
Right.
I mean, once we do fire against them, then do you think the European governments will tell the population that we can't do anything about it? Because
I think they should unleash every kind of kinetic weapon they have and bring these things down, including nets. Whatever they need to do, go ahead, take these things out of the sky, blow them out of the sky, and see what the result. See what's ever left over that falls to the ground shows what they are. Letting them fly with impunity, Mike, shows weakness.
It does. It did when this was going on here in the United States, and now over there in Russia, in Europe, it's the same thing. It's a sign of weakness, and anyone who's behind this is going to take advantage of that.
Time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to push back hard when somebody goes after you, and if you don't do that, you're leaving yourself open for future attacks.
Right. It shows they have the ability to come in. Now they're actually going and hovering over the air bases, not just flying past. They're becoming more brazen as stuff goes on.
Oh, absolutely. And they were more brazen over here in the U.S., first over Langley Air Force Base, and then over New Jersey. So, yeah, they're doing that in Europe. It's not good, and I wonder where this is going to go with NATO.
Showing up over Amsterdam as they were by Schiphol Airport and stuff. You know, what we're talking about is all locations that are close to the sea.
Right. So they have to be coming in. Just like when we were covering New Jersey, we knew in the morning these things were coming out to sea. And at night, when they were over New Jersey, they were coming in from the sea. The Coast Guard cutter that was swarmed by these objects was out at sea. So we know where they operate. They're doing it again.
Yeah.
Same shit.
It's the same stuff every time, but Royal Netherlands military police found no evidence of a drone last night was actually in the air. However, it is now assumed that it was a balloon at night moving under control. Okay, although this object has not yet been recovered or identified. So we're getting balloon gate again, Mike.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You and I both know that. Yeah.
However, coming from Hollywood, Danish defense deploys capabilities. Military confirms drones over multiple bases. Earlier sightings at Skrystrup Air Base and Jutland Dragoon Regiment signal a rising tide of intrusions. What's going on? The Danish Defense Command supports the police with relevant capabilities in connection with the drone observations in the vicinity of critical infrastructure and military installations. So we don't need to see the original in Danish because we're not going to be able to read it. So, move past that. Oh yeah, remember this is potentially the kind of action we're going to be seeing on tomorrow, Mike. Now that the if you want to call it National Guard or whoever that's moving into Portland is sure to stir a lot of things up. Yes, there's nothing.
They will.
You know, hopefully this is protest season again because it's so much entertaining value. Laura Campbell, your hand is up, my friend. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's not just Poland. There's other nations getting involved, especially securing their borders. For example, Lithuania has 9 centers now where they're training about 22,000 people in drone operations. So the skies are going to get very busy, and that's going to have terrible impacts with airports too. It sounds like it's become drone wars, and all we have to do now is just weaponize these drones.
Yeah. Did you know that some of the most advanced drones now that they have that they're manufacturing in Ukraine aren't even controlled remotely? They're now actually controlled over fiber optics, where they pull a little lead all the way along with them going for the longest distance. It's lightweight, it can unspool, and it gives the operators the ability to go ahead and control these things and anti-jamming devices have absolutely no effect. So it's if they've got that kind of stuff in Ukraine, you've got to figure that that whoever is making these drones has figured out how to harden these things and make them so they're more impervious to anti-drone technologies.
Exactly. They have to be cut manually on the ground.
Yeah. So one of the reasons, Laura, that they actually shut down Schiphol Airport last night was that an unidentified object passed just 50 meters from a plane in the Netherlands and Amsterdam Airport, temporarily halting flights. Several units and a police helicopter were involved, but the drone and its operator could not be found. You got to wonder why they would have start calling this out as a balloon if there's no evidence that it was a balloon except to try and calm down the public and let you know it's safe. And maybe it's not.
It's sad that everybody's afraid right away. That's, in New Jersey again, a woman, well, I saw this and I'm afraid, and they go to fear right away. And I understand, but at the same time, calm down, realize we're not being told everything. And yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Interesting. Who else has their hand up? There's someone else in the back with their hand up at this point. George, you're new. Go ahead. You might be on
your
mute.
mute button is on, George.
Thank you. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Mike. Yeah, I just wanted to echo Andy W.'s comment on Lakenheath and Heathrow, based in the UK, and how quickly that was swept under the carpet. As far as the Poland incursion of drones, they're clearly human technology. We know what they were. We know what they are. And then because there's no clear information from top-down government on these objects, it's conjecture. So where we're in a state of unknown concerning these foreign objects, we just don't know what they are. And so to say they're Russia in the absolute, when you have a fear paradigm of something's going to happen and there's going to be a bad guy and there's going to be a war or there's going to be something break out, we often latch on to the closest thing that's available to us. So in this case, it's obviously Russia or China being in the West as our nations. So the reality is, if they say we don't know what they are and you don't know what they are, we just don't know what they are.
Right, but it doesn't match any of the UFOs that have been known to be seen off of Sweden or off the Black Sea or different areas. Clearly, this is a drone technology that's going on, that there's some kind of an actor, some kind of a human probably behind these things that's causing these issues and these fears.
Is it like probably possible or probably known or unknown unknowns, these kind of things. And yeah, it does feel human in origin. So whether that's a reproduction vehicle or something which is outside of what we gather as being normal, but it could be corporate. It could be a high level corporate influence here trying to sway a situation geopolitically, right?
It could be a lot of stuff, but potentially it is close to a war zone. It's on the borders with a country who is at an illegal occupation and war against against Ukraine. So I'm not going to throw them out, but I would say there's a very high probability of what we're seeing here is definitely coming from Russia.
Sure, yeah, and like I get that viewpoint, but why would the Russians throw the crappy drones over Poland?
Well, I think it wasn't actually drones that were seen over Poland. I think it was was it drones or was it actually aircraft who were flying over Poland?
Drones and then aircraft.
Right.
But the point is, if you've got superior advanced technology that nobody can hit and knock out of the sky, why would you send those in over airports and military installations as a baseline? Whereas
you would do it to go ahead and distract the public from what you're doing someplace else. Let's go ahead and cause all this noise over here.
Right.
Everyone's paying attention, but around that, we're going to come and do something else.
I mean, I get the whole kind of stock inventory thing of your previous tech and your newer tech and running both stock inventory at the same time. But it's kind of like, well, it just doesn't make sense, because if you've got an advanced superior technology, surely you'd throw that against your NATO enemies as a part.
Well, if they're just trying to freak people out and get them on alert and get stuff in and get it out before they can do things, I wouldn't say these drones are super advanced tech that are using non-human intelligence technologies. We don't see these things going from 0 to 56,000 miles per hour in a second. They're acting like traditional terrestrial human-based technology at this point.
Okay, fair enough. But the top down, like, information from the narrative from the government or governments is we don't know what they are. So at every point was just like, we don't know what they are, but it's probably the Russians. We don't know what they are, but it's probably the Chinese.
Or they're not going to, they're telling us what they want to tell us. You'd actually trust the government to tell us actually what is going on and give us the actual
up
truth?
Is down, down is up, man. You know how it
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
Yes means no. So yeah. Okay, thanks, Thomas.
Thank you. I appreciate that, George. Yeah.
No, you're welcome.
Now getting back
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah. Getting back to another story here, Mike. We've got activity by unknown drones ranging from large to small were observed last night. This is coming from OSINT Defender, by the way. Very reliable source on X, saying that last night over roughly a dozen critical sites across Denmark, primarily involving a number of military bases, including Karup Air Base and North Jutland, which serve as home to all helicopters operated by the Danish Defense Forces and the main base of the Royal Danish Air Force. In addition to Denmark, drone sightings were also reported last night over locations in Germany, Norway, and Lithuania. Don't forget, we've already covered on the stuff that's been going on over Netherlands also, and France. Right. Kyle, your hand is up.
Yes, I agree with George on the drone incursions. Denmark released a statement that they did not believe that they were Russian. The drones over Poland had Polish SIM cards in them, and they appear to be drones that were shot down over Ukraine that were pieced together with duct tape. And they did not have explosive payloads on them.
So it wasn't drones that were put out there to go ahead and take out aircraft potentially, but it were drones that were still up there. Yeah, we've got more things. Interesting thoughts, Kyle. Mike, your thoughts on that? They get this taken care of.
It's interesting. I don't know why they would have previously exploded drones that they duct together. What would be the point of that, Kyle?
They were duds. that crashed.
But who sent them? If they were detonated and crashed in Ukraine originally, then who's patching them together and sending them out? It's not Russia.
They were said to have been damaged when they crashed. That they didn't. They took the payloads off. They duct taped them, put Polish SIM cards in them, and flew them in.
So it was people in Poland. They're not sure of the source was Poland, or they had Polish SIM cards in them for handling communication. Interesting, Kyle.
Yeah, that might be Polish activity.
Or there could be bad actors in Poland.
Right. That's true too.
Yeah.
There could be Russian operatives in Poland.
Right.
That happens all the time. Here in the United States as well.
Right.
Not a shock or a surprise.
We often talk about that these things like could be different countries, but we also like seem to forget that many UFOs like have this technology called mimicry, so they can mimic like
okay,
airplanes,
Ross.
like that. In which I forget to talk about that because that could be a possibility, Tom. If they use a mimicry to mimic drones.
Do we actually have proof of mimicry, or do we just have people who assume that there's things called mimicry that is going on?
I mean, have you seen the New Jersey video in which the orb turned to a like airplane and flew away? Like, you see that video?
Well, when you see something that's far enough away, you're going to get that big blob of light. As it comes closer, it's going to clarify what you're able to see light-wise. I didn't see anything that showed there was true mimicry going on. There were even videos of stuff like that, people claiming orbs turning into drones down in Florida, and it just turns out to be it's a limitation of the optics and the device that they particularly have. Now, they could be doing that, but
we have no proof of that.
Yeah.
And Thomas and I covered the drone incursion every goddamn day that this was going on, Nick. And if there was any proof of the mimicry that you're talking about, it would have been out there. There wasn't.
I see a video back check. Hey, Thomas.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second if we could. Jay Albertson, you have your hand up?
Yes, on to what Nick said about the drone that was doing the mimicry. I do believe that MUFON did investigate that, and you are correct, Thomas. It was a light anomaly because of the fact that you're looking at an object that's so far away, and that when you look at it, you're blinded. The optics are blinded trying to hone in or zoom in on something that you're looking at a light. You can't zoom in on a light. It's going to zoom in and out. And then once it actually clarifies, when it gets closer, then you see, oh, it turned into a plane. No, it didn't turn into a plane. It was always a plane. It just was blurred out by the optic.
Correct,
exactly,
sir.
Jay. Yeah. You are right. It's limitations of the human eye and what it's able to see.
Yeah.
And there's also the term blinded by the light. That includes what was just described.
Yeah. Now, if I can get in before we get our next person up here, our next piece that came about 4 hours ago, people are crowding it in around Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam, trying to watch for the drones that were passing close to planes. This is about 7 p.m. local time this evening, about probably 4 hours ago. 4 hours ago based on this post. But yeah, people are coming out. They want to see it. And if there's something going on, Mike, this means there's going to be more than enough footage to capture the scenes of what's happening.
Right, because I believe when this story came out about 4 hours ago, there was an incident where one of these drones came pretty damn close to an aircraft.
Oh, yeah.
So it's interfering with air safety at this point.
Yeah. Mr. Cowboy, you have your hand up?
Yeah, just a little vague, but I think it was yesterday. I saw a short clip from one of the countries where they said they deployed their security services with their specialist anti-drone technology, and there was a short clip of it. It looked like a blue van with a dome on the top. It really didn't look very clever. But if they did do that, they've not brought anything down, have they?
No, they're not able to bring it down because if you look at where you have someone who's at war, Russia, right?
Right.
They're going to be developing technology that's going to be hardened and impervious to our current methods for, if you want to call it, taking down drones. Hardened means that the electronics are going to be protected. So if they're shooting at it potentially with a microwave gun or something else, that energy, when it hits the shell of it, it's going to be dispersed and it's not going to be able to affect the electronics that are on board. Also, these drones could also be flying by wire, if you want to call it, based on AI. And when they're flying around, if we're trying to shoot stuff up there to go ahead and prevent the people who are controlling it from controlling it, it may not work because, for instance, that's why the Ukrainians have gone and switched to drones controlled by fiber optics. But either way, something's going on. They're not able to stop it, and hopefully now that's going to teach them to start trying to shoot these things out of the air and stop being so damn weak.
Well, speaking of which, the German military have requested from their government that if there are any of these drones over military bases, that they have authorization to fire on them with their artillery units. So they're taking the hint. We'll see if they get the authorization. They probably will. And if that's the case, then we'll see soon enough these objects getting taken down.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. They're on the right path.
It's the right path, and unfortunately, it looks like I've got a bit of English news here to go ahead and jump into, because anytime you're clamping down on free speech and the people's ability to talk on fear that you might insult somebody, it's like, yeah, I'm just waiting for them to bring out the hurt feelings report. Let's get into this, Mike. This one came in. Now, this may not be true, just for YouTube and your censors. This is something that was reported on X. Take it with a grain of salt. So an English patriot was arrested in the UK for chanting, "Come on, England," because it might offend migrants. He was accused of Islamophobia for cheering on his own country. Let that sink in, folks. When did national pride become illegal? So let's see if we got some audio here. So someone, Mike, just for going and talking about their national pride, being arrested.
So if you remember, we covered recently that over in the UK, they were painting the old Union Jack flag on everything, like the garbage. And they were they immediately got their garbage picked up. It was a good trick. But according to this new development, it sounds like if you were to be pro England and you did that, they would arrest you for being pro your country. It's just getting worse over there. It's crazy. It's turning into China. I have no idea why. It's just, I don't know why they're not stopping this. This is escalating against their own people, their citizens, which is disturbing.
Oh,
where do you think it's going to stop?
Where do I think it's going to stop?
With England, yeah.
I don't think it's going to stop. I mean, the only way it's going to stop is if you have Charles who come in and dismisses Parliament and calls for a snap election. But I think the king may be happy with what's going on. I could be wrong, because if he was not happy with it, he would have said something, and he hasn't.
It would have to escalate to the degree where the population, the citizens of their country, would have to push back against its own government. And once they saw the numbers, if there were a large amount of people that really are not happy about this, it might influence and change policy. But until that happens, I don't think anything's going to change either.
And Geraldine Durazio, I don't think our country is getting pretty bad compared to what's going on in other places. Free speech is still around. However, if people choose not to support something as a form of, advertisers boycotting a subject, which is something that has been going on against a lot of people for a long time, we're just dealing with, Mike, as probably another Bud Light moment.
Oh, my God. Talk about cancel culture.
Yeah.
Rearing its ugly head.
Oh, it happens from both sides of the fence. And
It does.
American corporations who seem to skirt things seem to be getting themselves into too much trouble. Now, getting back to the drone scene for a minute here, if we get back to this, this is likely the culprit of the drone sightings in Denmark, where they originate from. The Russian military vessel, which accommodates a crew of 340, can transport military equipment. The ship is said to have been located between 70 and 270 kilometers from the airports and other facilities that have been hit by drones. Now, Denmark does have limited authorization in international waters, unlike the United States, can go anywhere.
Right. And if there's something violating the airspace on or about of our military vessels, well, we can fire on them. I don't know if they're going to do that. They're also risking that if it is Russian and they do shoot it down, it may escalate tensions between NATO and Russia.
Yeah. It's definitely getting escalated, Mike, because even as of right now, Denmark was hit again last night or this evening as it's starting incursions, but now the military refuses to reveal the locations. Quote, Danish defense can confirm that drones have been observed at several Danish defense facilities last night and several capabilities were deployed, but they're keeping quiet on what and where and exactly what's playing out.
Yeah, I guess they don't want to advertise at this point. So they're probably right to keep it quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if you remember when Russia was flagrantly flying their drones over Poland, Poland shot them down. And that was the end of it. Nothing increased against Poland at that point. So if they started shooting these things down, that might be the simple solution to what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said.
It's
not having to worry about World War III.
It's a mess, my friend. Now, I know we've talked a bit about the drones and the different situation going on. I've got a smorgasbord of things to cover, but this just kind of popped up in my feed right now. Now, a major anomaly has been brought out about interstellar object 3I Atlas has been measured to be over 33 billion tons. A new study has attempted to pin down the properties of 3I Atlas, finding its anomaly massive at around that size. Team estimates that the object weighs, well, again, 33 billion tons or 33 trillion kilograms with a nucleus diameter of 5 kilometers. That's 3.1 miles, Mike. This is large for a comet, but a 500 trillion tons, if you want to call it comet, Bernadette-Bernstein, which is that protoplanet-sized object that entered our solar system a while ago that no one seems to be talking about, still has it beat. It's much larger. But then again, it has the largest cumulate nucleus ever seen at a size of 80 miles across, Mike. It's huge.
Well, if it came into contact with the Earth, it's an extinction level event.
Oh, gosh, yes. Either of these things, yeah. They're huge.
No. Yeah, it's a planet killer.
Oh, yeah.
But
Luckily,
it's coming close to Mars in March of 2026.
it just
So we'll
seems,
see what
Mike,
happens with
that
that.
we're getting more and more things, if you want to call it, that are coming into our solar system, but we have more and more technology up there to observe it. We have more cameras pointing to the sky to observe it. And although we've run into 3 objects now, who knows how many have passed us, have gone past us in the distant past, because we never had the eyes to go ahead and notice what was actually going on and what our solar system was passing through.
No, you're right. But speaking of eyes in the sky, we have NASA has a scientific satellite up there that's called Chandra X, and it is in the X-ray spectrum. It's able to get very clear pictures of a lot of things out there in space around us. But for some reason, and it's one of the cheapest of the 4 scientific satellites that NASA operates, they decided to cut the budget. And it's going to be taken out and non-operational in 2026. And it's the least amount of money out of all of them. So scientists are asking the public to call their representatives and reach out to NASA to refund to have that very important piece of equipment still operating.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell they're thinking by doing that, especially now. Like you said, we're noticing more and more of these objects coming in to the solar system. You would think they would want as many eyes up there as they can have, not cutting them.
What I think it comes down to, Mike, with the United States government at heart, there's only so much money to go around. There's only so many programs, so many different things we can throw the money into. And if we don't have the money, all we're doing is throwing ourselves further into debt. So I guess it comes down to trying to figure out, we only have so much cash, but we want to spend twice as much. There are going to be cuts that are going to happen, whether we like it or not.
But didn't we cover this last night? And Donald Rumsfeld had stated before 9/11 that there was $2.1 trillion missing, unaccounted for. And we know that the Department of Defense has 21 trillion over the years that they can't account for that's missing. That missing money that we know didn't go into smoke, they could use funds like that to keep basic needs like the Chandra X satellite operational.
Yeah, Mike, but
will
here's
they
the
do
thing. It's
that?
not like that money was thrown somewhere and not spent. You know, they spent every penny of it.
Yeah, and we have no idea on what. That's the problem. And it's
Yeah.
our money, not theirs.
Blame the National Security Act of 1947 for that, Mike. It gave them the rights to do it.
Basically defraud the citizens of their hard-earned cash
Well, of
and
course.
not be accountable for it.
Yeah. But I think
Which
George...
is an even bigger situation. It's a bigger story than even the disclosure movement.
Yeah.
But nobody focuses on that.
Exactly.
Because if they did, they knew there's nothing they could do against the government about it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mike,
know.
if I need to step away for a second, get some more meds here. George has his hand up if you'd like to talk with him for a
Yeah,
moment.
absolutely. Go ahead, George. You're next.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Yeah. I was just going to say, in the UK media, we had reports that NASA was being repurposed, like
Yes.
the commander-in-chief of NASA is being repurposed. Do you think this is a move from public sector to private sector space?
It could be. I know Elon Musk is contracted with the U.S. government, but the classification with NASA from the executive branch was to make it a part of the intelligence community.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but we already know that NASA, which stands for Never a Straight Answer, has been operating in the capacity of an intelligence agency for decades now. There's really nothing new with that. It's just an official classification now. And all that does is prevent FOIA requests from asking, what have they been doing? What are they up to?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so that they're trying to hide a lot of their activity. And by this new classification, they can do that legally.
Where do you think Space Force comes into this with
They're military.
Yeah, so you have the intelligence gathering through NASA, repurposed into a spy agency to.
Well, let's be clear. The first flights with NASA were, although we put someone up in orbit around the Earth, they were military oriented. Almost everything that's been going on with NASA has been oriented with intelligence and science and everything. Remember when we had the space shuttle, a high percentage of those flights that were going up and going up into space, a lot of them were specifically for military and intelligence purposes. So I guess we used to call them not a space agency, but now, Mike, we could call them now a spy agency.
Right.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah. And like Thomas just pointed out, Elon Musk that has his satellites, Starlink, operating, they have surveillance capabilities as well, not just communications. So we already know that Elon is involved with that aspect with the government as well. So we know where this is going.
Perhaps they want our eyes on the ground, looking for the coins on the ground instead of looking up at what's going above our heads, maybe.
I think it's both. I don't think they're just pointed towards the Earth. I think that they are monitoring all activity around the Earth and on the Earth, both. So this is where we're currently at.
Just
go ahead,
to,
George.
sorry, yeah, just to touch on the UK censorship issue, which was on the previous segment. I'm very quick on that. It does seem to me that there's, with the digital ID pass in the UK.
Yep.
And what's happening in the UK rolls out to Europe, and then America comes on board.
We're not going to come on board. I guess maybe if we get some Dems in office, we will. But under the current leadership, it isn't going to happen.
Yeah. Well, what happens in US affects UK, and what happens in Europe affects UK, and it's kind of like that 5 eyes, 3 eyes, 2 eyes, 1 eye, that UCASA connection between UK and USA. I'm very keen to kind of like get into why it is unfolding the way it is, with the backdrop of potential kind of conflict, and in the middle of it, these kind of drone effects, like why the drones are kind of appearing at this moment. Part of my gut instinct, and this is purely personal, is where you have tension or conflict, these things can appear, such as Foo Fighters during the Second World War. But whether these current drones over Denmark and elsewhere in Europe, coming off the back of UK Heathrow, Lakenheath, and then New Jersey, and then most of continental United States, it appears to be moving through different theaters of like tension. Whether that's feeding off us, I don't know. But yeah, okay, yeah.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate the insight on that. Yeah, it's just we'll figure out as things go on and where it gets to, and the digital ID thing and censorship that's going on. They always want to throw things at the United States, that the current, if you want to call it, administration is fascist. But if you look at the authoritarian undertones and fascist undertones that are going on with the current government that's in United Kingdom, I mean, that's what we're kind of looking at. And Mike, it also came out earlier in this week that any request that was made by the federal government that went to YouTube, they censored anybody the government asked without question. It was a mess.
That is a mess.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we know Google is in the government's pocket. That's no surprise.
Well, that was Facebook, but Google's probably doing the same. Andy, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'm just going to bring up about a digital ID that's going on here that they're trying to push. I'm not sure how long the petition's been going. There's over 1.6 million people have already voted, signed up for the petition to say no, they don't want it. So, and I don't believe this petition's been going very long. I know that the Labour Party has been is having their party conference in the next couple of days, and there's an awful lot of pushback. I believe even in their own party. And yes, I did say Labour. Yeah,
that's okay. Libor, yeah, I love it.
It seems that there's not just in the populace, but also actually in their own party. There's people who are very against this. It's not a welcome thing. I don't believe it will crack down on the boats coming over, as a personal opinion. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But Labour is having a pretty tumultuous time at the moment. As you guys have probably seen in America, that Liberty Astros just said 1.6 million since yesterday. So yeah, it looks like this poll has gone up fairly recently. So yeah, it's.
But do you think that Steimer will actually listen to what the people are saying, or is he just going to ignore it and say, well, this is for your best?
He doesn't care what the people say.
Yeah.
He really doesn't. And probably you won't see me because I'll probably be banged up now, but I think he's following in the wake of Tony Blair. It does seem to me like there's an awful lot of Blair, our previous Labour Prime Minister, leading into this. It was one of his big things he was into. So yes, it's looking very, very tumultuous here in the UK.
Yeah,
and it's we seem to be staggering on it. We had 14 years of the Tory party, the Conservatives. Labour didn't win. Labour didn't win the last election. The Tories lost the last election, and that's basically there's no mandate from our present politicians in Parliament at the moment. So yeah, it's we've got a majority, but it's
what has it
very,
given
very
you? Don't
slim.
worry, Andy. I'll say it. It's been locking up the innocent citizens of the United Kingdom and allowing unchecked immigration of people coming across, not families, not anybody else, but mostly of fighting age men who are coming across. Unfortunately, daily boats, instead of taking them back, they're just welcoming them in, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to say from my own
Safety, don't talk about anything.
My own opinion on this, I am more than happy to welcome in people who are genuine refugees. Okay, if they are, there's a worldwide known system that people who are claiming refugee status can take to gain refugee status. It doesn't involve going across water and chucking your personal documentation away and your mobile phones away. So I am more than welcome to for this country to welcome in people who genuinely in need.
Yeah.
Just unfortunately, I think the vast majority are not actually political. They're financial.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Exactly. We hear you, my friend. If we could keep you out of trouble and go on a chromosome cowboy, go ahead, Mr. Cowboy.
Hi there. Just from the news been looking at, they're talking of, I mean, there's a lot of backbenchers and who are not happy now with what's going on. And there's quite a bit of dissent. And there's talk of there's someone who's popular, but he's not full MP yet. He used to be. I don't know the technicalities because I'm not very political, but I think he needs somebody to step down from theirs and he'd take over. But they're eyeing he's being talked about as a leadership challenge to Starmer.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to fall apart. And as well, there's a lot of things with this ID card. I did repost one thing, if you see it, how he's completely contradicted himself about the ID card from something he said quite a few years ago. I can't see him being around. He's certainly not going to be around for another year to get an ID card.
You never know. You never know.
As far as I know.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that insight.
In my honest opinion.
Yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into this then. Now, I do have a statement here that's come to us from the Danish Prime Minister. Addresses the nation on the drone incursions, and a lot of people are saying, oh, she's talking about UFOs. She never mentions UFO once. Granted, this is going to be, you'll see the, if you want to call it text-to-speech along the bottom of it. Let me go ahead and bring this up so we can go ahead and see what she has to say. Here we go, folks. It's here a little bit higher up and bring this a little bit lower down. Off a bit. All right, here we go, everybody.
Har i de seneste dage været udsat for hybride angreb. Droner er set flere steder ved kritisk infrastruktur, militært og civilt. Det er angreb, som vi må forvente, der kan komme flere af. Og det er angreb, som har vist sårbarheder. Og det er angreb, der har til formål at skabe utryghed og splittelse.
Mike, there you go. She's calling it out as attacks, same as we have been. It's an invasion that's going on.
You're right. That's exactly what it is, but we said that already.
Yep, I know.
Yeah, so we
angreb,
agree.
der skal ryste
Exactly. Let's continue on.
os som mennesker og som samfund. Jeg forstår godt, at situationen rejser mange spørgsmål. Hvorfor er dronerne ikke blevet skudt ned, og hvorfor blev de ikke opdaget tidligere? Og der kommer et tidspunkt, hvor vi må kigge tilbage i de seneste dages hændelser og lære af dem. Men her og nu har vi som regering og myndigheder en altoverskyggende opgave, og det er at passe på Danmark. Og gøre os i stand til bedre at imødegå de hybride angreb så hurtigt som muligt. Og hvor er vi nu? For det første så har myndighederne hævet beredskabet, og de forbereder sig på forskellige scenarier. Det betyder blandt andet, at både forsvaret og politiet vil være mere til stede med antidronekapaciteter omkring kritisk infrastruktur i den kommende tid.
You know, Mike, what this is really showing with the issue that we had going with the drones on the East Coast of the United States, potentially in other areas, world governments don't have their act together, don't have strategies, don't have the technology to deal with drone warfare. It's like everyone is unprepared for this.
Oh, we know that already. There's nothing new with that.
Yeah.
This is just a continuation of what we covered during the November 2024.
Unless the ones in the United States were from us, which is highly plausible.
Yeah, that as well. But we heard Trump said that he had full knowledge of these FAA authorized drones, but he's not allowed to say anything about them.
No, he's not.
So, right.
Andy, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, I think the unfortunate thing with what's going on with up and coming drone warfare, Ukraine is the first time we've seen drones utilized as weapons in such a grand scale as they are. Who would have thought, 5 years ago even that we would be talking of fairly small drones, with fairly limited capabilities being able to take out main battle tanks. I've as a hobby, I've been in and around tanks, literally from the very first one. You would never expect basically something that's just over the size of a hobbyist drone to be able to knock out one of these things. I think we're in a whole new paradigm for what's going on in modern warfare. I think the Ukrainians taking on the drone warfare mainly. Russians have started doing it, but only in the wake of actually seeing Ukraine doing it. We're in a completely different ball game from even 5 years ago. Technology is. We've seen the advent of AI in the last couple of years has taken off. I'm still trying to hold off on it mainly, but I think the kind of warfare we were seeing, even with the two Gulf Wars that both our countries were involved with, is probably a thing of the past. It's and you can, if this is foreign actors, you can shut down your enemy on whoever's side. You can shut down their air base. You can shut down their military establishments just by sending a handful almost of fairly small drones over. And what are you going to do? The USA is spending billions of pounds on your F-35s and your B-2s and all your wonderful technology, but you've got aircraft-wise, a couple $100, and they're all obsolete. So, I think time will tell. We're still up in the air over what's happening in the USA with whatever these objects are, drones or whatever. I'm probably going to myself. I voted when we had the poll up earlier on. I voted these are human drones. Whether they're testing the waters on what they can achieve, whoever they are. But it's it seems to be this is a way of warfare. You can't imagine being an ordinary soldier on the ground, with somebody flying a drone at you. But forget your bullets and your guns. They're sending drones to knock out single soldiers. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be cheap, effective weapons that are going to take out very advanced, complicated weapons like fighters and bombers, which we've seen already play out in the Ukraine and Russia. So yeah, everything is going to be changing. We know that, Andy. Not for the better, though. It's unfortunate.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right. And all a tank is just a sitting tin can. It's a good target.
Yeah.
We saw what happened to all the Russian tanks in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
That was a nightmare, like something out of a bad movie.
Well, Mike, I want to bring this up really quick. What's coming on in over in Denmark? A Danish mobile military radars spotted deployed at Copenhagen airport. This is within the last hour, following the recent spree of drone sightings and disruptions at airports. That's what we're looking at here off in the distance is a mobile physical radar unit to try and figure out what's going on in the area. Because a lot of the radar and everything that goes on with control towers, Mike, that's all based on transponders, and these drones are not using transponders, are they?
They are not. So it's not really going to be too effective if they're looking to connect with the friend or foe transponder on these craft.
Right.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. There's,
a lot of things are going to have to change. They're going to have to change the infrastructure, the sensor systems that we use to be able to pick up these rogue drones, these devices. Oh, we're going to be screwed.
So this actually brings us out as a good opportunity then for investments into military contractors, especially those with drone and anti-drone technologies.
Yeah, because AI is advancing how these devices are operating.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to use the same thing to try to fight back.
Oh, yeah.
But will we? I don't know. Time will tell.
Yeah.
We can't get a straight answer out of our own government about what it knows.
Well, hopefully they'll realize, Mike, that they need to go ahead and take care of some of this stuff and not just act like an ostrich and put your head in the ground and say everything's going to be fine.
Well, it's going to have to escalate to the degree where somebody loses their life over this shit, and then they'll start to take it pretty seriously. Or if a commercial airliner with passengers comes down because of this.
Oh, yeah.
They won't be able to ignore it anymore.
All right, so let's get back to a little bit of this press conference coming. It's only a 6-minute clip we've got left here from the Danish Prime Minister. Let's get into this. Here we go. Not that one. Here we go.
Med vores allierede, med henblik på hurtigt at styrke vores egne danske kapaciteter til at kunne opdage og til at kunne nedkæmpe droner. For det andet så har myndighederne mandat til, at fjendtlige droner kan tages ned. Men det er selvfølgelig de ansvarlige myndigheder, der skal foretage den operative vurdering i den konkrete situation, herunder af de konkrete sikkerhedsrisici. Og for det tredje, så har jeg over de seneste dage været i kontakt med en række af mine europæiske kolleger. Jeg har talt med den tyske kansler, den britiske premierminister, statsministerne i vores naboland, Sverige og Norge, og med den finske præsident. Ligesom jeg har været i tæt dialog med NATO's generalsekretær, og vi er nu fra dansk side i tæt dialog med NATO-allierede om, hvordan de i den aktuelle situation kan bistå Danmark, så vi kan beskytte og forsvare vores luftrum. De hybride angreb har ikke kun ramt Danmark. Der har for nyligt også været hændelser i både Polen, Estland og Rumænien. Hybridkrig er ikke en krig i sådan traditionel forstand. Hybride angreb skal forvirre os. De skal gøre os usikre. Og det er fra en fej fjende, som ikke tør give sig til kende. Den ene gang, der kan det være droner. En anden gang kan det være cyberangreb. Det kan være det, vi kalder disinformation. Det kan være påvirkning af valghandlinger, konspirationsteorier, man læser på nettet. Men uanset hvilken metode vi kommer til at se, så er formålet det samme. Man ønsker at destabilisere vores samfund, og man ønsker, at vi ikke længere skal have tillid til vores myndigheder. Og alt
Mike, she brings on a really good point here, that they're doing this to scare the public and show there's a lack of security and support from the governments and bring upon unrest.
That's textbook 101 when you have a foreign adversary that's trying to destabilize your society and your country, your government. It's worked throughout the decades. So no surprise or shock there that somebody may be doing this.
Yeah.
This is how it operates.
Exactly. Let's continue on.
Alt sammen så understreger de, at sikkerhedstruslen mod Europa er alvorlig, og den er reel. Det er derfor, vi igennem de seneste år har været i gang med en massiv oprustning af vores eget danske forsvar. Det er i øvrigt også derfor, vi bliver ved med at støtte Ukraine, som jeg tror kan hjælpe os i den her situation. Fordi hvis der er nogen, der har forstand på at bekæmpe droner, så er det vores venner i Ukraine, og derfor er vi selvfølgelig også nu i dialog med dem. Jeg er også nødt til at sige, at det tager tid at genoprette dansk forsvar. Det beder jeg ikke om tålmodighed med, fordi den har jeg i virkeligheden ikke selv. Men vi har travlt. Og jeg beder om forståelse for, at selvom vi har det, så kan det trods alt ikke lade sig gøre, hverken fra den ene dag til den anden, eller fra det ene år til det andet. Og jeg er også nødt til at sige, og det her er særligt til nogle af partierne i Folketinget, at målet med hybride angreb, det er ikke kun at teste vores myndigheder eller vores beredskab. Det er som sagt også at se, hvordan reagerer vi som samfund, og hvordan reagerer vi politisk. Vi skal være på vagt, og hvis der er noget, der ikke fungerer, så skal det selvfølgelig rettes op. Det er vi i gang med, men vi skal altså også bevare roen. Tiden er ikke til hurtige meldinger, eller politisk overbud, eller mistillidserklæringer til myndigheder eller til politiet. Fordi der er ikke nogen ansvarlige politikere, der vil kunne garantere den danske befolkning, at vi helt kan undgå hybride angreb. Det kan man i øvrigt ikke i noget land. Og det er nok snarere lige præcis omvendt faktisk, at vi kommer til at se mere sabotage, flere hackerangreb, endnu flere droner, søkabler, der ødelægges, direkte angreb ind i europæiske demokratier, som vi aktuelt ser det i det lille land Moldova. At Danmark og Europa er under mere voldsomme og hyppige hybride angreb, det betragter jeg som en ny virkelighed. I næste uge der mødes alle Europas stats- og regeringschefer her i København. Vi skal diskutere europæisk forsvar og sikkerhed, herunder etablering af en egentlig dronemur. Med andre ord, Europa skal ruste sig, og vi skal opruste. Og vi skal aldrig lade os true, for sådan kan vi ikke være danskere, og sådan kan vi heller ikke være europæere. I de her timer og dage, der er vi meget vel i det, man kan kalde sådan den indledende fase i den umiddelbare krisehåndtering. Det har vi prøvet før i andre situationer. Og jeg har også sagt det, jeg siger nu før, at i enhver håndtering af en svær krise, der er der en risiko for, at man kommer til at begå fejl. Og det er ikke altid, at vi hurtigt kan give gode svar på de spørgsmål, der løbende vil opstå. Men som regering, der vil vi altså bestræbe os på at fortælle offentligheden det, vi kan. Det samme vil myndighederne. Selvfølgelig med en omtanke. Nemlig, at dem, der vil os det ondt, de lytter med på alle diskussioner, vi har med hinanden.
Yes. Some interesting words coming from the Danish Prime Minister. If we could, George, you have your hand up.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Yeah,
we got you.
basically, I'm just trying to, psychologically speaking, how would I view if I was a Danish citizen listening to this pre-scripted, pre-read auto cue mantra of we know what they are and we need to spend more money on defense? Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here a little bit.
But
okay?
if you remember, Europe itself as a whole has been spending a lot of money on their social programs and not enough money on defense. And if that's the problem, saying we need to spend more money on defense, it's probably obvious because there's an entire capability that's been coming in that they have no defense to. So yeah, they need to spend more money because clearly they haven't been spending their pennies in the right ways.
Sure. Yeah, I have an NGO with NATO, so I get the press releases the day before it hits general press. And what I'm curious about is the NATO Secretary General has made no statement about these drones outside of the Polish incursion.
Are you surprised?
I'm not that surprised. I'm
No,
not that surprised.
UN is
at
very
the
ineffective.
Official government response. Now, you can argue the semantics about social money and defense money and so on and so forth. I think that, like, getting back to the key question here as a devil's advocate is, if me personally, I'm sitting on the fence about whether they're non-human or human, NHI or human. Why convince me that they're human? Why is it?
No, convince me that they're not human. I don't need to convince you of anything, my friend, because there's nothing that's been shown based on the capabilities of these craft that they're anything beyond terrestrial, meaning from humans. There's been no capabilities that are the 5 observables that have been shown. We're just dealing with drones that are coming in and screwing around with military and civilian air installations.
But that's happened, you know, like George Knapp in Russia, and you know, like the files from there. And
What do you mean
in the
George
States
Knapp in
as
Russia?
well.
When things were happening in Russia, it was the Russian military that was going and fucking with the UAP. They got some people turned into stones. So,
well, the UAP were triggering nuclear installations, starting them up and shutting them down on both sides of the border.
well, no, on our side of the fence, they went and they if you want to call it, destroyed mechanisms within a whole bunch of our missiles that prevented them from being launched. They all went down. It's not like they just turned them down. They basically they made them so they could not physically do it. Around the same time, this was over in the bases that are in Ukraine at this point. Now, those bases, the countdown sequence was started and the people couldn't frickin' stop it. So you had them dealing with people in hardened bunkers, at least what we thought was hardened, and they were screwing with it. In the United States, they said, oh, we can turn your stuff off. Let's see how it reacts. But in the Russians, they turned their stuff on and they couldn't shut it down and freaked everybody out, which is 2 different messages that kind of gets to 2 different types of mindsets that are there.
Okay,
and that's completely different from the drones that we're seeing. We're not seeing huge giant orbs or plasma spheres that are coming down and doing stuff. We're seeing stuff that really aligns with known drone technologies that are out there.
Right. So I even me, I'm referring to this as drone. Who was the first person to coin the word drone when it was over America, over like New Jersey, and prior to that as well? Who actually came out? Was it a government installation who said that, or was
it was an individual who was recording them and called them out drones? And we're talking about mid-November, around November 16th or so, when we first started covering it. And there were videos that were being done. They weren't being called out as UFOs; they were being called out as drones on the East Coast.
Okay, and what was the result? What was the East Coast drone incursion? What was the result of that? What has it finished? Is it still ongoing?
No, it's done. From what we were seeing from mid-November through the end of the year, that whole thing kind of pittered off and died. Now, there may be some other things that are still going on now, but it's nowhere near the scope and scale of what was going on from mid-November through the end of the year.
Okay, so has the lens of that moved to Europe, and why?
Well, we also had the thing going on at Lakenheath at the same time, and all the different military bases across the United Kingdom, and I believe that was, if you want to call it, attributed to in the end towards Russian actors pulling that off.
Okay, so you know, I want to, you know, like when the state is giving us, you know, these reports that we're getting through Twitter, X,
right?
And
but
so
she's making an address to her country, because this is kind of like a thing. Our country's been invaded. Things are going on, and you gotta have to give props to the Prime Minister for coming out and talking about it. Granted, it's not like an off the cuff interview like you'd get with Donald Trump, but at least she's reading a prepared statement on this.
My personal fear, and I'll say this as a personal fear, is the precursor to an incident that galvanizes an actual assault on either each way between, you know, Europe and its eastern front, NATO and its eastern front. I'm kind of concerned about that. One, because I'm closer to it than you guys. Okay, although you've got Alaska in that way on that side. But it's kind of like, well, look, you know, like if there's war drums to be banged, and we're looking at kind of like drones as a precursor to that. I would like say, well, hey, are you 100% sure? From a curiosity point of view, I'm looking like cosmic tops, cosmic as a clearance for NATO and UN and whatnot. It's like, well, game it out. So our airports and military installations are shut down, no fly zone, right? What's the response? What do you feel the response should be, Thomas? And what do you feel the response should be, Mike? Do you think just weapons free, fire at your discretion?
Shoot them down.
Look, listen, as soon as there were drones over Polish airspace, they shot them down pretty quickly.
Once we
And that
knew
was it.
once we knew that what they were, but these ones we still
Then
we
shoot
don't
them
know
down.
what they are.
If they're in places where they don't belong,
an
they're over
incursion,
military
right?
bases, they're
it's
interrupting
an-
air travel, shoot them down.
So
Flat
it's
out.
an incursion of airspace, even if we don't know what they are fully. Just
Bring them
knock
down.
out this
Yep.
plane.
And if they're UAP, they're not going to be shot down. If they are terrestrial, they will fall.
If they're UAP and NHI, then the chances are they've been here for quite some time. They're going to have countermeasures like in that Hellfire missile video, right?
Yeah.
So we get ultimately, if we were to shoot these things down and we get a Hellfire type scenario, then we're just going to get more data for the general public on these objects that we don't know what they are.
I don't think they're going to share much of anything with us, honestly. I think we're only getting skirts of information to try and make us feel more comfortable with what's going on. But the governments are there not to provide trust, they're there to provide protection. And generally, when you've got governments saying a lot of things, there's always a lot of important things that are left out, right?
Yeah, 100%. I've always thought that out of all the countless thousands and thousands of UAP, UFO reports, that if one of them is true and can do the things that they say it can do, it renders the control paradigm completely useless. One of your major battle groups, your aircraft carrier battle groups in the Pacific Ocean, if one of these things is real, then it renders it useless. So the projection of power is impotent. So it's well, this is from the alien NHI UAP point of view. But if it is Russia, I would argue that then maybe we need a strong defense against this. Then we need a kind of a counter move. We don't want to end up in a checkmate situation with Russia having the upper hand, or backed by China. If the technology is coming by way of China through Russia, I'm not sure. But yeah, I just I hear the politics of UFO and the politics of NHI coming through, and I hear war drums being banged. As somebody who's the peaceful warrior in a garden, I kind of want to have information and facts first, which, as you say, Thomas, we're not getting 100% from our government. So it's we need a strong counter, but at the same time, it would be good to get more data on this as low-level civilian population, 100%.
Well, George, let me remind you, that Hellfire video that came out in Congress publicly, that was a dead drop video, meaning Representative Burleson doesn't know who sent that video. We obviously know it was a military video, and it was obviously our government's military video. But our government didn't release that video. So they're not going to give us any data on whatever it is that they know. They won't.
I think Jeremy Corbell quoted as saying there's another 6 minutes, but he can't release it at the moment because there's a big flap within that community. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that a video which is used in a hearing, is it congressional hearing or
yes, congressional
hearing, is given by way of a dead drop without any a hard line on where it's come from, by who, by whom, by what, and where. And
well, we know it came from our military. That's who had the video, and somebody within it dropped it to Congressman Burleson. So people that are working within the government want some of the truth to come out, but the government itself as a whole is not willing to release that information to the public or Congress. So I can tell you that because of this, And the flap that you mentioned, the flap is that when that video came out publicly, a lot of people in this community on social media, people who were very knowledgeable, immediately started to say that that video was of a balloon, not a UAP object. Thomas and I, and other people as well, did video analysis on that video. And very quickly were able to determine this is not a fucking balloon. So the people who are out there that are claiming that it plainly is, they're spreading more disinformation and covering up disinformation like the government wants. So I don't know why they were doing that, but they were. So that's what created a flap. They're trying to say, yes, this video came out, and we could all plainly see what we're looking at. But at the same time, they're saying, well, you know, it's not what it looks like it is. It's actually a balloon. Not a balloon.
It just feels a little bit 4D chess, you know, like if you've got the high-end toys in the cupboard and you're bringing them out to play, i.e. the drones over various installations in America, New Jersey, UK, and now Europe. Why would you fly? I mean, like a gentleman earlier mentioned about the kind of, I think it was, Kyle mentioned about the kind of gaffer tape drones with the Polish SIM cards flying into Poland. When you've got that inventory, you know, was that just a probe? You know, like, so the conventional modus operandi of warfare would be that Russia's probing the defenses and moving assets around to test various regions from Finland up in the north right the way down to Turkey and beyond down south. And it's that thing, not forgiving the fact that, you know, kind of NATO moved in the air defense system on a boat into Spain, which kind of upset them because they realized that air defense missile systems could be repurposed to attack as well as defend. But with these drones, like specifically with the word drone, and drone is getting used a lot, you know, it can also mean, you know, other words as well. But on this specific point, for me, it doesn't make any cognitive or sense to use really crappy drones to do your basic kind of probing and attacking, unless you're trying to get rid of the inventory. You know, like, here's the old weapons. Yeah, we've got to get rid of them somehow. So let's just throw them this way. And here's the high end stuff. Yeah, let's shut down a few airports. Now the president of Denmark is coming out and saying that this is a hybrid attack. And yes, it is an incursion, but an incursion of what and by who? We don't know. Or at least we don't know. Do you feel, Mike, that those people in power, know what this is and where it's coming from, and we, the people, are being kind of geared up for kind of conflict?
Well, listen, potentially it could always erupt into a conflict, George, especially if Russia is involved in this and how they've been losing the Ukraine war for going on 2 years now. And they don't like the fact that Ukraine has become more of a proxy war for the West against them, NATO and the US.
And Ukraine are doing long-range fire into Russia. You know, they're hitting targets within the, you know, sovereign Russia itself. So it's tit for tat. And the you know, my sense is the Ukrainians in Kyiv and beyond in that region want to maintain their independence. So, you know, it's
they will maintain their independence.
Can I swear on this channel?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a shit show, and we're in the middle of it, and we're watching it on 4K at UHD, and it's kind of like, well, hey, and in the middle of it are these weird objects over at, you know, airports and stuff, and it's just kind of like, well, hey, you know, what are these and what are they doing? Well, they're just hovering there, and we can't take off or do anything, and it's just like, well, that doesn't make sense, because if it was an attack, then what, do you press the button and then it's take out those installations?
Well, you could look at it from both sides. So far, these incursions, even the ones over New Jersey, no hostile action was taken by these objects.
Yeah.
Not in Norway or in Europe or not here in the United States.
That's weird, isn't it? Is it just a display, a covert, you know, an overt use of covert technology that nobody quite understands? And I use the phrase, you know, overtly covert.
Let's say, hypothetically for a second, George, that, let's say, China was able to have some breakthroughs in drone technology that could have been derived from their reverse engineering of UAP and NHI technology. If they achieved those breakthroughs and they wanted to send a message to us, then at that point, they will put these objects over the United States, have them go over military bases and restricted airspace with complete and total impunity, and not fire a shot because they don't have to.
Yeah, but I'm also like from my limited amateur armchair study of the UAP UFO topic, there are groups and organizations which are transnational that don't obey any rules, have their own private armies, and they're earlier in the chat I put, is this a corporate actor trying to like in the middle of it, you've got nation state, nation, military, and then in the middle of it, you've got transnationals playing both sides of the game. For example, during previous conflicts, there were transnational corporations who released a popular beverage in the UK and in Europe, and they had to change one brand because they don't want to see both goodies and baddies drinking the same drink. It's kind of like, well, you've got these kind of entities in the middle, kind of going, well, how do we gain both sides? Hey, here's our tech. And then secondary to that as well is the fact that the third-party private contractors are the ones allegedly getting the back engineering on the UAP UFO, right? So it's like, yeah. So these are not public companies; these are private contractors who have this technology. So, is it any stretch of the imagination to consider, even for a moment, that the drone sightings, for want of I'm going to use the phrase, and I hate it, so-called drone sightings over Denmark, right? Could this be a third-party corporate actor playing their hand in the bigger game between nation states?
Well, now we're getting into Matthew Brown territory.
Right.
He was the author of the Immaculate Constellation report that was submitted to Congress. He also has come forward and said that he believes there is a multinational, multi-corporate, private, deep state that has been operating and keeping all of this under wraps. If you believe that what he has been saying, and so far, there hasn't been a shred of evidence or proof to back any of those claims up. And until there is, I really can't take it seriously.
It is a bit Half-Life, the guy with the briefcase walking around at the end, in the suit, kind of just taking the data from, But yeah.
I'm a fan of Half-Life as well, by the way. That's a deep cut. Yeah, and that Agent Smith was the one that they took from the game in the Matrix movies, and that was the agent. Keanu Reeves was fighting. Yeah,
blueprint. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to Shanghai, but I want to just play devil's advocate a little bit and say, well, hey, the poll came back in the chat 50-50 pretty much. That's a very divided chat room, even with 85 votes, 100 votes, 150 votes. So to come down hard and say it's definitely drone technology as opposed to NHI, and then off the back of Jason Albertson saying that these objects can appear to be airplanes and they're not airplanes, and then these things we just don't know. And I think until our administrations say we know what they are and it's these people, we're left in the dark down here. Don't you think, Thomas?
We're left in the dark. But we don't have any facts or anything that shows what we're seeing is just demonstrating the capabilities of a non-human intelligence. And as soon as I see that, I'll call it out and go down that path. But until then, I'm not going to believe, because believing is for believing in the Easter Bunny, believing in Santa Claus and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and things you cannot get facts on. But what Rudolph we want is, what are we seeing? What is the public seeing? And does it align with what we understand of the capabilities capabilities are of UFOs or UAP? No, right now it's in our capabilities, and I'll leave it as something that's coming from humans until we see something that's convincing otherwise.
Yeah. Okay. Well, in which case, Thomas, weapons free.
Absolutely, which is what Thomas has been saying.
Yeah, bring
And
them down.
I agree wholeheartedly. Just bring them down. Right. That's it.
If
You'll get your data.
they're invading the space over military bases, bring them down. If they're shutting down major airports, bring them down. If they're violating your airspace, bring them down. There's no reason why we should not shoot these things out of the air and figure out once and forever, here's the evidence, here's what it shows, and that's what we're dealing with.
And this is where it's coming from.
Yeah. Got to stop worrying about hurting people's feelings, Mike.
No, absolutely. I'm with you 100%, Thomas.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they should have been doing. But you see, what's holding it up right now are the individual governments in Europe, over in NATO, and our government.
Yeah.
They still don't have a standing free fire order on any incursions.
Oh, shit.
And they should.
What the hell happened to my camera? Go on.
Yeah. So until any of our governments are able to have an open standing order to shoot any of these objects that are incurring into our space with these incursions, we're not going to get any more answers, and they're not going to be able to deal with it. So I don't know if they're doing it on purpose or by accident, of not being able to be prepared on how to deal with these incursions. They should by now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that just happened today. This has been going on for years now, and they still haven't been proactive in addressing it. I don't know why. Somebody should do something already at this point. And I could tell you this, one last thing. When we had these incursions over New Jersey, and the government was playing dumb and wasn't taking any direct action about it, the citizens in New Jersey decided to act on their own, even though it was stated by the government that if you fire on any of these objects, you will be arrested. You are breaking the law. People were still shooting at these objects over their homes, over their properties. They were. So eventually, if they continue, somebody's going to do something, and we're going to find out what this is about. Eventually.
I would hope so. Nick, last question. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes. Do you think that eventually that we're going to have to declare war on UFOs? Eventually, the human race has to declare war on UFOs.
Oh,
conflict UFOs.
If there is a war between us and the UFOs, Nick, we're fucked. Humanity's done. We have no way to defend against this technology. And if they go to war with us, it's like the cavalry against the Indians, but worse. And we're the Indians.
So options are very limited, Thomas. I mean, the majority of the public doesn't even know this exists, Thomas. The majority of the public doesn't even know this exists. They think this is just drones, and this is just...
I think this is humans screwing with humans. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's UFOs. I think it's NHI attack using mimicry to disguise themselves.
Yeah. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Mike, I think we've covered about everything here today.
Oh, yeah. And I want to especially thank George for the lively conversation. It was nice to have somebody engage on these topics and voice their opinion.
Yeah.
Lively conversation.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. You never know where it's going to go. We missed Gene Sticko today. Hopefully he was okay.
Yeah, I'm sure Gene is okay, but we'll find out.
Yeah. All right, on that
Yeah,
note.
he just posted, Thomas. Gene just posted he's on the road, so yeah.
Oh, that's
Safe
right.
flight,
He was going to be
Gene.
going to, where the hell is he going to? He was going to California or somewhere, wasn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, that's right. And he was going to meet up with George Knapp and others.
Yeah, he was doing. There's a bookstore opening, carrying a lot of copies of Engineering Infinity.
Yeah.
He was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, should be pretty cool. Should be really good on that. On that note, my friends, old Fessler here has been feeling like crap since
the beginning of the show.
Oh, several days, and the headache's been coming and going, and it's hitting me again now with additional things. So you know what? Let's have, I want to appreciate everybody for coming out today for this episode of Disclosure Tonight. What am I talking about? I want to thank, we had a couple nice super chats today from Psionic Man. Thank you very much. I know someone gave us one from Australia before the show started. This is wait, Psionic Man, is that the guy in the back? Yeah, there we go. That's our friend in the back. How about that? We found you. On that note, we want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure Tonight. We've had a great time here, and I'd dragged this on a bit more, but I am not feeling good, and I need to go rest at this point. And as we usually say, Mike, at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight, thank you for coming out, my friend.
No, my pleasure. It was a great show, Thomas. Thank you for putting all this together, and hopefully you feel better soon.
Yeah, I hope so as well. And we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure Tonight,
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to subscribe. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.